And now I know Spanish Harlem are not just pretty words to say. I thought I knew, but now I know that rose trees never grow here in Bemidji. Until you've seen this trash can dream come true, you stand at the edge while people run you through. And I thank the Lord there's people out there like you. Thank the Lord for the people out there like you. While Mona Lisas and Mad Hatters, sons of bankers, sons of lawyers, turn around and say good morning to the night. For unless they see the sky, but they can, and that is why. They know not if it's dark outside or light. 'Cause Broadway's got a lot of songs to sing. If I knew the tunes, I might join in. I'll go my way alone, grow my own seed shall be sown here in Bemidji. Subway's no way for a good man to go down. Rich man can ride, and the hobo he can drown. I thank the Lord for the people I have found. I thank the Lord for the people I have found. While Mona Lisas and Mad Hatters, sons of bankers, sons of lawyers, turn around and say good morning to the night. For unless they see the sky, but they can, and that is why. They know not if it's dark outside or light. Now I know Spanish Harlem are not just pretty words to say. I thought I knew, but now I know that rose trees never grow here in Bemidji. Subway's no way for a good man to go down. Rich man can ride, and the hobo he can drown. Thank the Lord for the people I have found. Thank the Lord for the people I have found. While Mona Lisas and Mad Hatters, sons of bankers, sons of lawyers, turn around and say good morning to the night. For unless they see the side, but they can, and that is why. They know not if it's dark outside or light. They know not if it's dark outside or light. I thank the Lord for the people I have found right here at the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast. Miigwech Bizandawieg. Thank you for listening. BOOZHOO! And welcome back to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, a podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. BOOZHOO Daniel Black, BOOZHOO Jessica Gonzalez, Daniel Black and Jim Dunn too. We're all here for whatever. Okay, hey, BOOZHOO, you guys, how you doing? I wasn't sure how I should start the show today. How you doing, sweetie? Oh, I'm doing okay. How are you? Honestly? Yeah, of course. I'm really trying not to be depressed. Oh, really? Yeah. You know, everything I know about how to not be depressed, I'm doing the opposite. You know? It warmed up though. Yeah, I know, huh? Yeah, I think it's only 13 below. Or maybe it's a high of 13 below. I don't know. So it's another February morning in Minnesota. And, you know, I'm no stranger to this. I grew up with this. You know, like getting cold and dark and, you know, feeling and just having no energy. Maybe that's it. And then it kind of snowballs on you, you know. Like I haven't been able to exercise much, which isn't true. I could. I've chosen not to exercise much because I haven't in so long that now I don't feel like it. And I can't just take a lazy walk for an hour outside. That's usually what gets my heart going. You know, oh, I'm gonna lift, I'm gonna lift these barbells 10 times. That'll get me out of my funk. And then you have no energy, so you do nothing but drink coffee and eat sugar. And I feel gross from doing that. The house is a mess. I don't know. So yeah, oh, I'm doing great. Just loving life. And this is the problem with the depressed mind too. You get to the point where you go, oh, your life's so tough. And then you realize, well, no, it's not. Life's a blessing and a gift. And I'm very, very lucky. I have no right whatsoever. What a little baby I am to take all my blessings for granted. To, you know, to live such a life and not appreciate it. You know, to be afraid, you know, to have no faith. What should I do, Shady Side? Shady Eyed Side. Shady Side too, sweetie. For sure, Shady Side. She says, let's start exercising today, she says. A challenge is an opportunity for a victory over laziness. Yeah. My laziness is like a debilitating, what do they call that, handicap? You know, the more depressed I get, the less I want to exercise. And also the more depressed I get. Jessica says, exercising might help you warm up this cold weather too. Yeah, it makes total sense. You know? Okay, I'll try. Nusanan, Wakwing Abian, our Father who art in heaven. Apikish Kichitwa Wendemig, get a news a win. Apikish Bidagwig nu Magak, Kidugi Mawiwin, and Endemin. Apikish Ijiwe Bak Dibishku, Wakwing Miku. May your kingdom come, may your will be done. Gaye a king on earth. Miko gaye ishpaming, as it is in heaven. Mijishanang nungo agijikuk, numbakweji ganimana, minik iyuyang. Give us today our daily bread. Bu nigade ta wishanang gaye ga iji nishkihi nange. Forgive us for our offenses, just like we forgive others. Ke go gaye iji wishin kage gagwe deepening gay winning. Do not lead us into temptation. Dash inama wishanang mayenadak. And keep us from what is evil. Like those monster cookies I keep buying. It's evil, Father. Ape enge. Amen. Miigwech bizendabieg. Thank you for listening. Help me get me out of my funk. I guess that's what this is, sort of. You know, it's actually really fun to put on this show. And you know, I'm feeling so lonely. It's sad. It helps to connect with people out there. Huh, honey? Yeah, it does. You know, at least we got each other. Yeah, we got each other, and we got all the boys back there. You know, but it's nice to hook up with Jessica and Daniel and Jim, Shady Side. So yeah, it's Friday. It is Nano Gija Good. It is the 5th day. And today is Ojibwe word of the day because it's kind of how I'm feeling, like a skunk. Jagog, a skunk. Today is Ojibwe word of the day. Jagog. And you see that the jagog is a really sacred animal to the Anishinaabe. Because all of God's creations are sacred, huh? Huh, honey? Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah. Jessica says, you're a skunk in a funk. I'm a skunk in a funk, sweetie. I know. Gotta get your funk on. Yeah. So today is a gibberish cartoon by Michael Lyons. Oh, by the way, my name's NANABOOZHOO, for anybody who's new to the show and who gets up this early and knows to come here. And this over here is Natasha BOOZHOO. And over here is Michael Lyons. BOOZHOO. And Michael draws cartoons. He's got some books for sale. It's probably linked in the description. And this is a cartoon of his called Gibberish that is available at Amazon.com. Jagog. And here there's a skunk. And he's hugging Little Cutie. That's another book Michael wrote. It's called Little Cutie. It's about a red and white teddy bear who goes on a vision quest. And he gets all this advice from the woodland animals. Here Jagog is saying, Miigwech niji. Thank you, brother. Skunk says, Miigwech. Thank you. Niji. Brother. And you know, it is kind of the Indian way. Like, I don't think Little Cutie and Jagog are actually brothers. They probably have different mom and dad. But they're brothers in that way that you're really close friends who feel like family. The people you hug, those are the people who, in the Indian way, we call them brothers and sisters. You know, I was watching a documentary, and I only got about 20 minutes in, and then because I'm a skunk in a funk, to have no attention span for anything either. That's the other thing. But they were talking about, I think his name is Blackburn, or Blackbird. One of the first, like, Ojibwe-speaking historians who wrote a book that nobody read about the Ottawa and the Chippewa and Michigan and that, and what they thought of Bigfoot. And how there was and I've even been telling this story too, is that they say, oh, this used to be Dakota territory. And maybe it was actually. But Michigan used to have a different group of Indians before the Ottawa and the Chippewa who lived here, and there's no record of them. They had a different, well, apparently there's some record because I knew it was there, but like Mackinac or Mackinac Island or whatever, there are mysteries there. And they talked about giants and Bigfoot, Sabe. Although they had a different word for him. They called him, oh, what was it? I don't know. But they were showing some weird photos of these like half monkey, half human people. Mexico has a Sabe too. Anyway, so, what was I talking about? Oh, but they were talking about before the influence of, you know, frankly, white people, before we got whiskey and how we lived back in the, and he guy even used the term primitive. And nobody went like, hey man, that's politically incorrect. We were never primitive. But that's not a value judgment. But the primitive, Ottawa and, you know, Chippewa, Anishinaabes, before we ever had whiskey, before we started trading with anybody from the outside world, the way our homes were set up, the Anishinaabe were a really moral people. Nobody swore ever. They had no swear words. Like we know that. Some people say, oh yeah, there's no swear words in Ojibwe. But it wasn't just that. We didn't swear. Every day was a relationship with Gitche Manadu. They prayed all the time. They had all their ceremonies were in thankfulness to Gitche Manadu. They said everything was plentiful, you know, from the game to the wild berries and potatoes and whatever. That it was just, it really was almost like the Garden of Eden. And all marriages were just arranged marriages. They had no, like, oh, we're going to date for a while, and if you're cute enough and you're nice. And so there was no babies born outside of a married man and woman because their parents would arrange it. And strict codes. Oh, and there was also no murder. There was no record of anybody getting murdered. Not even, you know, I mean, there was a record of them saying there was no murder until after the influence of alcohol. You know, they said the first murder of Anishinaabe between a guy, it was two guys were spearfishing. Or netting, that's what they were doing. They were netting, and they got into a fight because they were all drunk. Oh, and even back in the old days, only the elders would drink intoxicating liquids. But sooner or later, some young guys got into a fight over netting, and one guy stabbed the other guy and murdered him. And it was a very serious thing. And the man was banished from the tribe forever. And anyway, it was just sort of interesting to hear of how we lived before we had that what they call a firewater. Ishkode wabu. Ishkode nibi. Whatever you want to call it. Anyway, Jagag is saying, Miigwech Niji. Thank you, Niji. Because in the story of Little Cutie, Little Cutie is a teddy bear that goes on a vision quest because he thinks his human is outgrowing him and he's got to go live with the real bears in the old res dump. And as he walks out and he goes looking for the bears, he gets all this advice from different woodland animals. And they all love Little Cutie. For somehow we get the impression that they know him, they see him, they haven't seen him in a while. And oh, they're just happy to see him. But none of the woodland animals like each other. You know, like the squirrel, well, right away the squirrel talks about how he thinks it's a good idea for Little Cutie to leave because, you know, he goes, oh, I never understood how you could live with humans in the first place. I don't let them within 20 feet of me, you know. And, you know, the chickens, they badmouth the fox, and the fox badmouths the eagle. And everybody was badmouthing Jagag. Nobody likes a skunk, except Little Cutie. because little cutie only has a felt nose. It didn't work. He didn't understand why the other animals were so disrespectful of the skunk. And the skunk didn't understand either. He thought they were afraid of him. He was like, yeah, man, all the animals are afraid of me. They don't want to be near me, they're afraid. and little kitty didn't get it either. So what happens is that they'd form a strong bond. You know, Jagag understands. He can tell who his friends are. You know, I kind of stink, and you guys don't seem to mind. So when you get into that depressed mode, Jessica says, pick up one small thing that will change daily. Start small. One small good habit leads to other good habits. Yeah, that's a good advice. You know, like cleaning. Just do the dishes. Don't do anything else. Pay attention to just the dishes. I remember calling up my buddy Warren. I was really depressed years ago. And I called him up and I go, man, I can't do it. I mean, I'm not suicidal or anything, but boy, I just, got it bad. And he goes, what's your house look like? And I go, what do you think? It's a wreck. Every single dish is dirty. It's spread all over everywhere. I haven't done laundry in 2 months, 3 months. I don't remember. I'm wearing dirty clothes. Everything is gross. It's a wreck in here. And he goes, well, start by cleaning your house. Don't even worry about getting undepressed. Just start cleaning. Don't quit. Just start with one room and focus on that room. And sure enough, that was like the best advice. Let's see. Shady Side says, how about celery and cream cheese with green chilies instead of cookies? Celery with cream cheese. I don't know about the green chilies, but I could do with some celery and cream cheese, or celery and peanut butter and raisins. That's a good idea. I mean, yeah, I guess peanut butter or sugar, but who cares? Daniel Black says, BOOZHOO crew? BOOZHOO, Daniel. Daniel's here, sweetie. BOOZHOO, Daniel. Natasha says, hello. You probably didn't hear that. So yeah, we were just talking about I got the winter blues, the winter funk. I'm a skunk in a funk. Oh, gibberish. And our word today is jigag, skunk. So I don't know. I guess, hey, sweetie. Yeah? We got a call. Oh, okay. What line? Line 2. Caller, you're on the air. Hey, yo, it's me. It's Sylvester Stallone. Oh, hey, Sylvester. How you doing? Yeah, call me Sly. Hi, Sly. How you doing? Oh, I'm all right. I was just watching your show, and I'm a little concerned about you, buddy. You don't have to worry about me. I'm just, you know, it's just really cold today, and just kind of wearing my heart on my sleeve. Yeah, I hear you. You know, I mean, when I was fighting Apollo, I was down in the dumps too. Yeah, that's right. You've kind of dealt with your own share of depression, huh? Yeah, that's right. You know, but I got, you know, I could tell everybody, you know, when you're feeling down, you gotta reach down and you gotta pick yourself up. Yeah, I know. Would it help if I sang the song? The song? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, would you mind? Yeah, sure. Da 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 da. Hey, that's really helping. Yeah, I figured it would. Getting stronger. No, that's enough. Okay. But yeah, you know, when you're down, you gotta pick yourself up. You know why? Why? Cause that's how winning's done. Okay. Jeez. Yeah, that's from Rocky 5. I was trying to cheer up my son. Yeah, you know, I never saw that movie, but I really liked that actor who played your son. What are you talking about? This is. Oh yeah, that's right. He's an actor. You get confused sometimes if you're the character Rocky or the actor Sylvester Stallone, huh? Yeah, that's right. I do sometimes. You know, because when I'm fighting Apollo, I didn't actually fight him. He was just another actor. Yeah, but who cares? It seems like you're actually Rocky to me. Yeah, I know. But yeah, that actor, I forget he's in This Is Us. We're big This Is Us fans, huh, sweetie? Yeah. Yeah, you know I was on This Is Us. Oh, that's right. Didn't you make a cameo? Yeah, that's right. I was in a movie with that guy, the good-looking brother. They're both pretty good-looking, huh? Yeah, like you could say that about the white brother. Yeah, what was his name? It was Jack and the boys. Anyway, yeah. So that was cool. You were on that, and he was also in a show called Heroes. Milo something. Milo Vitilago, or I don't know, some Italian name. Yeah, I think it was Milo Vitilago, or I don't know. Yeah, okay. Well, anything else you'd like to um, add? Anything else I can do for you today, Sly? No, man. I just want to tell you, things are gonna look up. Don't despair. Spring is on the way, as they say. Yeah, okay. I'll try to remember that. All right. I'll see you later, man. Yeah, thanks, Sly. Yeah, giga wabba min, min a wa. You know what I'm saying? Okay. He always wants to say, you know what I'm saying, for some reason. But I don't think that's really. That's nice that Sly calls in. Yeah, I can't believe it. He really cares. Yeah. You know, you never know who's gonna call in on this show. But yeah, so Milo Vitilago. I'm sure Vitilago is not his name, but he's got one of those long names. You only read the first part, and then you just make it up with your imagination. Uh, but he was in Rocky 5 or 6 or 17, or I don't know. I'm still waiting for Rocky fights the nurses at the nursing home for the final Rocky episode. Daniel Black says, "We all feel at times, regardless of the weather." Yeah, we have to acknowledge it to others for any kind words of encouragement. Yeah, I guess part of me kind of wants to be honest about this. I wasn't here yesterday, by the way. Sorry, you guys, because I just wasn't feeling it. Um, you know, it was one of those days where I just took 2-hour naps every 3 hours, and woke up and I was like groggy. Had the monster cookie hangover, too much sugar the day before, so I couldn't wake up. And I don't know, I was feeling kind of blue. But today I thought, you know what? Yeah, I'm still, kind of bummed out, scared and lonely. I was so scared and all alone, um, that I thought, well, I'm just gonna come on and share that, because who cares, right? If Bert of Ernie and Bert can get so exasperated he faints on camera, I can come here and say, yeah, you know what? I'm having one of those moods that maybe you've had before, where it's like everything's in black and white. There's no color in your life. You can't remember very fondly anything. Your mind just goes back to all the sad stuff. It's like, hey, remember this? Oh, I don't want to think about that. That breaks me cry. Oh, okay. How about you remember this thing? How about when that person died? You're like, jeez, why can my mind just goes right to the darkest places. And they go, okay, well, dummy, you know better. Don't live in the past. That's where depression lives. And so your mind immediately goes to, what if the world's ending? What's going to happen in the future? What if I die of the COVID? What if the COVID thing is actually not what they say and we're being under attack? Then it gets all scared. What if we're living in some sort of terrible dystopian future? Oh no, 1984 came true. I don't know. So in present moment, I guess, huh? Daniel says, of encouragement. Yeah, I know what you mean. Shady Side Eye says, instead of AA, we could start another group named SA. Sluggards Anonymous. Yeah, no kidding. We must resist lethargy. Yeah. That's how it's getting expressed in me. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I'm the most hyper person normally at all. So I like to think of myself as kind of cool. Yeah. But my depression comes from lethargy and sentimentality or nostalgia or whatever the word is that makes sad memories. I don't know. Sometimes there's almost like maybe it's an endorphin rush I'm looking for. I don't have it quite today. That's probably not true. But in the old days, it's easier to talk about other days, times of depression. And I don't know, this probably isn't even a depression. This is probably just me whining around. But I have been seriously depressed. And when I was seriously depressed, I would start my day by going to a YouTube video of like somebody, uh, like a soldier coming back to their pet, you know, or a veteran surprising their daughter at her, you know, fourth grade class or something, or surprising their mom, just so I could make myself cry. You know, you start my day off with a good cry. And when I get depressed, it's like I almost wanna wallow in sad stuff, you know, just to get the tears running. And that's probably not, I don't know, that's probably not that great. Shady Side says, oh wait, I get that. Shady Side is rowboat and that purple symbol for Prince. I don't know if that's probably not Prince's symbol. What does that mean? The purple, is that the lady symbol? What's a purple lady? I think that would be like that, what was that guy's name? The dinosaur in that kid's show? Oh yeah, we could have him call in sometime. Barney, I think? Yeah, Barney. That's Barney's wife. No, I don't think so. Shady Side is trying to speak in pictographs. She's real traditional. She doesn't even use the language, she only uses the pictographs. So yeah. Sunny day. Kitchamanadu, please help me today. Tagawi duka wishan nungom. Please help me today. I gotta get out of my funk. But then, you know, you ask yourself, I was wondering about this the other day, when it comes to prayer. I know some of you people are a little more mature than me spiritually. How do you dare ask the creator of everything for anything? Sometimes it's like, you know, I get prayer for gratitude, you know. I understand and that can bring you a blessing of, you know, that can actually be transformative. If you are grateful, then your life gets better. But how do you ask for, you know, how, I feel very uncomfortable telling the Great Spirit to do anything. Why don't I just tell him to make it spring? You know, hey, by the way, I'm in charge now. I command you, Great Spirit, warm up the weather. You know, number one, he wouldn't do it, but isn't that just on the same scale of please help me feel better? You know, please give me strength. If you know, if I can ask for a little thing, why not ask for everything? And but how could I possibly? Like, I'm just kind of joking around here. I'm not really asking for those things. Jessica says, I think people can become almost addicted to depression. Yeah. Once you get into a cycle of it, you almost don't want to get yourself out of it, even though it feels bad. It also feels good to wallow. Yeah, that's the problem. That's what I have. You know, there's a little, it's like an addiction. Get that itch. It's like, oh boy, I haven't had a good cry and good hopeless despair day for years now. And it sucks. I don't want to do it. Shadyside says, how's Psalms 54 coming along? Yeah, not great. Because I don't remember it. What was Psalms 54 again? I know we did the whole show on it. It has to do with prayer, doesn't it? Write a song today. Yeah, okay. That might be a good idea. Write a song. Michael, if we wrote a song today, would you play it for the people tomorrow? Yeah, for sure. We'll just write a short song that has something to do with the winter funk, the winter blues. Or maybe we should write a funny song. People like funny songs. I don't know. Mina bashki mina sagani batu si chikani bakwe chikani blueberry pie la 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 la. It's hard to rhyme English and Ojibwe together because Ojibwe is like 10 times as long. Get your mana do. So yeah. Sweetie, yeah, got another call. We do? All right. Do you want to take it? Yeah. Why don't you come on here and Caller, will you hold for a while? Yeah, he says he'll hold. Okay. You know what, you guys? I'm gonna let Michael get on here and talk to you for a minute. I'm gonna go over there and have a sip of coffee. Thank you so much for showing up again, everybody. It's very nice to see you. You know what? Actually, I do feel a little better than I did just 10 minutes before the show. Probably because I'm not sitting around in silence. We're actually talking and doing something. All right. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Hope you have an awesome day. Giga Wabamin? That's so rude. I know, I just burped. Minowa. Oh, what? All right, dude. You want to make yourself useful? Sure. Okay. You better get over there, Michael. Yeah, I know. Hi, everyone. Where's my coffee? I wanted to get some coffee before I went completely cold. So yeah, I've just had it with this weather. And Admiral McRaven, a Navy SEAL, once said, if you want to start the day, we'll start by making your bed, and it'll follow from there. Yeah, there's also a guy, what's his name? He wrote 10 Rules for Life, I think. Psychologist, who's always in YouTube these days. That's one of his rules for life, is make your bed. And it starts from that, and sure enough, no, my bed's not made, hasn't been made in days. I've been living in this constant state of what it's like when you're sick, even though I'm not sick. You know, walking around in a blanket and eating Campbell's soup, you know, that chicken. I behave like I have the flu, even though I don't. And then I watch the, Daniel says, oh, coffee, thanks for reminding me. You need to be reminded to drink your coffee? The rest of us, it's an addiction, man. You gotta be reminded to quit drinking. Maybe your new habit should be reading a chapter from Psalms daily. That's sort of emotions expressed in Psalms, both joy and anguish. Do some light reading. All right. This is my grandmother's Bible. It's one of those giant print Bibles because elders can't read, and neither can I. So, Psalms. What was the Joe Biden? He revealed himself for not knowing anything when he mispronounced one of the books. So Psalms 52. Okay, listen to this. To the chief musician, Muskil. Muskil. Almost sounds like Michael. A psalm of David when Doeg, the Edomite, came and told Saul and said unto him, David is come to the house of Ahimelech. I just read that. I have no idea what that means, but I do know what the word musician means. Anyway, why boastest thou thyself in mischief, O mighty man? The goodness of God endureth continually. Okay, why boastest? Why brag of thyself in mischief? Oh, boast, I don't know. The tongue deviseth mischief like a sharp razor working deceitfully. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Selah. Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. God shall likewise destroy thee forever, and he shall take thee away, and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place, and root thee out of the land of the living. Selah. The righteous also shall see and fear, and shall laugh at him. Lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. That's good. I will praise thee forever, because thou hast done it, and I will wait on thy name, for it is good before thy saints. Okay, here's Psalms 53. To the chief musician upon Mahalath, Muskil, a psalm of David. This show just took a different, just shifted gears suddenly. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. There is none that doeth good. God looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand, that did seek God. Every one of them is gone back. They are altogether become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. I can't read any more of that. I mean, nothing against the Bible, but it's bumming me out. Are we all just fallen? Giant print for the blind, yeah, exactly. Or maybe there were giants in the old days. Yeah, start small now. Michael is the chief musician on NANABOOZHOO. That's right, you hear that? Yeah, just, I'm the chief musician. He gets all the credit. So yeah, I am feeling a little better. The YouTube videos I started and then didn't get very far in was called the Ottawa and the Chippewa History and Their Beliefs on Bigfoot or something like that. And it was really interesting. You know, our history is so terrible, our education. And so when I learn new stuff, I'm like, it kind of fills in that picture of how little we understand and how little we remember, and what a mystery the past really is. Daniel Black says, amen, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. So, yeah, I prayed a number of times yesterday. Talked to one friend on the phone. But, you know, I give advice. Sometimes I'll ask myself, it's like, well, what would you say to a friend of yours who felt like you right now? What would you say? I say, well, write a gratitude list. Go on a walk anyway, even though it's 20 below. It's not going to kill you. Maybe you won't make it as far, but you can come back. It's better than not walking. Exercise, eat healthy, clean your house, be grateful. Don't push it. You'll recover. Remember that these things are roller coasters. You go down and eventually you go back up. You know, but sometimes knowing it in your head and practicing, you know,
not becoming depressed are two different things. So, yeah. I mean, I don't like that word depressed because it's too general and too vague. You know, there's a medical term of depression. Oh, these are your, and who knows what that's all about. The chemistry in your brain is wrong. That's what I was getting at on Wednesday. Every nation has some sort of conflict in 1812. Did they, or is there a cover up something else? Yeah, it seems like there was a huge reset of history, that there was a huge war or something in 1812. It's not that long ago. But that apparently there was a reset sometime in the 1800s, which makes everything we think we understand about history suspicious, even Indian history. We're definitely learning a different language than English. You know, we know that much about history, that there was a people, and in our language, we can, you know, examine the history, you know. But the idea that we know everything that happened from 1492 till today, and it has somehow been documented and recorded, just isn't true. And there's a narrative that's been written and passed along, you know, just like these stories. This is another weird thing. The story of the Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore used to be called the Six Grandfathers. It wasn't called the Six Eagles or the Six Buffalo or the Six, it was the Six Grandfathers. And yeah, I know we sometimes call rocks grandfathers. But the story we're given about this one guy and his son, some guy named Burglum, who happened to be a Ku Klux Klan member, which probably means he was a Freemason and another society member. The story is this one guy who was a sculptor went to the government with this idea, it was his idea, to carve the founding fathers. Lincoln's not even a founding father. To carve these four presidents into a mountain in the middle of nowhere on Indian land. And they said, yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't you go out to South Dakota and Sioux territory, someplace where no one goes who's not Sioux, and spend millions of dollars or whatever it cost. And did it in like 10 years. Then you see, that's the story, and then he dies like a year after it's completed, and his son worked on it for a while. And the, doggone again, I should have pulled up a picture of it. But the technical ability, the artistry in carving what is probably the largest sculpture in the world, in such a short time is impossible. There's a, maybe I'll pull up a picture tomorrow, but in the rock sculpture, which they say they carved with dynamite and a hammer and a chisel, they have light reflection in the eye. You know, from far away, if you look at it, it looks like you know, the light reflection in the dark part of your eye, because there's a stone there. But then also the choice of those four guys. Oh, it's George Washington for the founding. The development of the country was Jefferson, and then Teddy Roosevelt, which is pretty recent, or something, and Abraham Lincoln for something else. What if those aren't those four men? What if there were actually six men that were carved on that mountain at one point? That maybe George Washington to Lincoln aren't even real. Maybe those are different people who lived here at a time of an advanced civilization, the pre-reset or something. You know, maybe those are, who knows who those guys are. maybe the entire narrative of George Washington and these founding fathers and all the way up to Lincoln are just fiction. And they have to like construct a story where they came here and they found that sculpture and couldn't explain it. It's like, how in the world would there be sculpture and this clothing and these people? We don't have photographs of George Washington, we have paintings of him. But who knows when those paintings were done? And it's just a mystery. One thing we can probably count on is that we've been lied to, and what we think we know is probably not the truth. So that means any other explanation could be true. Let's see, Mike, let's see, Wisani says that what was I was getting at on Wednesday. Every nation has some sort of conflict. Did they, or is there a cover-up of something else? Yeah. There's also a video of San Francisco the day before their big earthquake, what they called an earthquake. And it looks real suspicious. You know, it looks like a propaganda film. You know, it's all grainy and stuff. But they show pictures what also look like thousands of people coming from a train station, all moving in one direction towards the camera guy. Everyone's wearing pretty nice clothing. It looks like they just shipped in a whole bunch of people to repopulate San Francisco. History reset, and the mud flood, and those kind of things. Maybe that's, you know, when I'm looking on the bright side of things, on the bright side of life, as they say in The Life of Brian, maybe this is finally we're seeing that everything has been a lie. This could be the age of the awakening, where we all suddenly go, wait a second, what now? You mean what we were taught in school isn't correct? And we've had this fiction, we've been living this lie all these years, and maybe this is the generation we go, wait a second, this is what actually happened. There were, you know, people lived here, the Bible's correct, there was a flood, everybody died except Noah and his family. There were fallen angels and giants who were evil, cannibals, and God wiped them out, but their line continued. And the Nephilim or whatever. I don't understand it well enough to educate anybody on it. But apparently Tartaria, maybe, you know, these stories of like, well, Bigfoot and what's the sunken city? Atlantis. You know, that there might have been resets a number of times over generations where everybody died out and new people were repopulating this area, and a lot of the buildings and stuff would have survived. Maybe we are, this is one thing that was depressing me the other day. Somebody suggested that we were like created by an advanced people. That we were made in the image of our Creator, but made smaller, less, and we were less intelligent, less in every way. That our Creator could build, you know, these amazing, all the amazing architecture and sculpture and everything. But that we are actually some sort of genetic, not mutation, but creation. Now this would totally contradict a biblical story. But what if the Bible was right for entirely different people, and all that went down, and then after everything went down, they created us, and our prayers are just we're praying to some other people's God. What if all the prophecy happened, revelations happened in the 1700s or something? We're living in the post, you know, the part they just never wrote about after the Bible. What if we're in the chapter that hasn't been written yet of the Bible? I don't know. I'm getting deep. I'm getting ridiculous. I don't really believe that, but you know. Lincoln spoke about giants. Is that right? Well, what's up with the top hat? The top hat is a mystery too. Like there's some suggestion that maybe people had cone heads in the old days and top hats. Um, you know, could it have been that Lincoln and George Washington, all these guys, were what we would call giants? You know, if everything they tell us is suspicious, like, oh, here's George Washington's bedroom, and it'll be small, and like, oh yeah, people were shorter in the old days. Maybe it was just the opposite. Maybe they were huge. I've heard, not much, but what if Jesus was a giant and Noah was a giant by our standards? But actually, biblically, Jesus is from the line of David, right? And David fought a giant. And they just kind of gloss over that. I wish when I was a kid we could have talked more about, wait a second, David fought a giant. Were there tribes of giants? Was that just an expression of, oh, he was a giant, you know, like he was a big guy. That guy was a giant. No, I don't think so. I think he fought a Tartarian. I think in the old days, people, you know, you think about Jack and the Beanstalk. Always giants in the kid stories. Jack goes up to a city in the sky, or a castle in the sky. And you think about all these old photos where the skies, they call them vanilla skies, where they've wiped out all the whatever was there. What if there were castles in the sky? What if there were floating cities? And giants lived up there. What if that's real? And that back in David's days, that those giants would torment, hunt, and cannibalize the little people. Maybe we're the hobbits, you know. And so that story would also be remembered when one of us little people fought back and killed the giant. The Bible was written by four stoned hippies. Probably. Yeah, at least a few of those guys got stoned, if you know what I mean. You say that like that's a bad thing, Daniel. I would find it very encouraging if those guys were smoking weed while they were transcribing God's word. maybe that's what got him in tune with Gitchimanadu. But did he chop down a cherry tree and have wooden teeth? Probably not. Yeah, these weird stories that carry on. You know, like obviously the cherry tree is complete bull. You know, NanaBOOZHOO talked about that once. She was kind of question, what kind of a maniac father did George Washington have? That was something that got called out on. A cherry tree. Like, aren't they bushes? What's a cherry tree? I don't even know how cherries grow. But, you know, that he, you know, who chopped down my cherry tree? Was it you? Because that would have happened in England, I guess, because you'd been a boy. But so, you know, they tell us that part of the story, probably knowing that no one's going to take that seriously when they grow up. And it was kind of a story of, you know, the best person we can think of, your hero should be George Washington, the first or 8th president of the United States of America, and he never lied, so you should never lie too. And he had wooden teeth. What does wooden teeth mean? That's such a weird detail. Like, did they make dentures out of wood in the old days? Do they make them out of wood now? I don't know. What's that supposed to mean? You know, he spoke with a mouthful of wood. I don't know. The Bible was written by Wisani says, hire themselves out as mercenaries to rich normal SOZs. Normal size people. Yep. Hire themselves as mercenaries to rich normal size people. Jessica Gonzalez. Well, an angel put a little scroll on John's tongue before he wrote Revelations. Okay. People wonder if that might have been some sort of psychedelics. Interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. A little scroll. Could it have been a hit of acid or something? I've never done acid. I've never trusted anything that's man-made like that. It was a quote from Scottish comedian Billy Connolly. Oh, okay. I love Billy Connolly. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I remember thinking he was really funny. Well, we're just about out of time. Natasha, did you want to come and say hello to the people?
Yeah, sure, I'll come over and say hello. I, for one, am not depressed.
Oh, good. I can always count on you to cheer us up.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta look at the bright side of things.
Okay. How is it that you just aren't affected by the weather? Is it the flannel shirt or something?
Well, the flannel helps,
Okay. Where's your hand? Here we go. I don't know why I just don't do this on camera.
Want to preserve something?
Yeah, probably.
Sunny day.
Oh, sorry.
BOOZHOO, Gakina, la 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 la. Hey everybody! I'm a little late to the party, but I just wanted to stop in and say BOOZHOO. The fourth wall. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to ruin the fourth wall, do you?
No, I guess not.
It's Natasha time. Yee. So yeah. Well, I hope you cheer up today. You got to do your radio spot. What am I saying? We have to do our radio spot. You don't do anything. You got to help us record it. On Fridays, we do a radio spot for a radio station here in Minnesota. It's the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast, Ojibwe word of the day or something. So after this, we're going to record audio of us teaching a Ojibwe word of the day. Do you guys have any ideas? What would be a good Ojibwe word of the day? Should we teach them shagag?
We should teach them a word that has a story behind it.
That Robin story was pretty funny yesterday or Wednesday.
Should we teach them Robin?
Maybe. Daniel says, a flannel shirt deflects the bad vibes. Yeah, it might be that I'm wearing pink too. It's hard to get real depressed when you're dressed in bright colors. Is it Nietzsche Radio? No, but that's out of White Earth. And I've thought about we should call them up. To at least be a guest or something. But yeah, Nietzsche Radio. So yeah. Life is such a mystery. It's such a crazy time. It's so scary sometimes. I don't know if it's the weather or if it's the news, if it's the COVID, if it's all the censorship. These are weird times. Oh, brother. Careful what you wish for. Because I remember thinking, we live in such boring times. It must have been interesting in the 60s, huh? The 60s must have been an interesting time. Oh, the 40s must have been an interesting time. Well, here we are. Here's an interesting time. This will either be written about in history, or this will be the end of history. The sun is medicine. I bet you that's a lot of it. Jesus, we haven't seen this. No, you know what? The sun has been out. You haven't seen the sun. Because you're sitting here with all your windows covered with blankets. That's half of it too. You haven't seen the sun in a week. Because remember when you lived in college, you had that basement apartment?
Oh, yeah.
And you'd have to turn on the lights like in the middle of the day because there's no windows. It's all moldy in there. It's amazing you survived it. Richard John's got a mushroom for you. Remember like those mushrooms that grew in your carpet? Jessica says, honestly, take some vitamin D. The lack of vitamin D in winter can cause depression. That's why people get sad. Seasonal affect disorder. Winter blues. Jessica, you don't know what you just did. Michael's grandma would always start a sentence with, honestly. I think his grandma just channeled through you to give some advice. Honestly. Take some vitamin D. Have a salad for crying out loud. Hey, you got that kale shake to sit in the fridge. You can make your kale shake after this.
I sure will.
Thank you, Jessica. We'll do that. Shady Side Eye says, politicians have cast wickedness into the melting pot, and we have to exist in that pot. Yeah, exactly. Well, it kind of makes me think of, when you were talking about the Ottawa and Chippewa. Chippewa, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, is kind of what we are. We call ourselves Ojibwe now, or Anishinaabe, but we used to be the Chippewa. And so the Ottawa and the Chippewa, that little bit of, when you were talking about the influence of alcohol and the wickedness, they didn't even have any out-of-wedlock pregnancies before, we're living in a corrupted place. I don't know. Jessica says, haha, Grandma wants Michael to get off his butt, take his vitamins, and just wash those dishes. You hear that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jessica. Thank you.
Well, on that note, on those words of wisdom, miigwech, Jessica, we better get going. We got to do the show. Hey, you guys, miigwech ganawabieg. Thank you for watching. Miigwech bizendawieg. Thank you for listening to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, naming random on my noon goom. I'm happy to be here today. But yeah, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 with clean kitchen and Michael having walked and gotten frostbite, but feeling a little better. Have a good day, guys. Gigawa min minawa ho and live stream. Bye.